Hello everyone, how you doing? Good to have you here. I'm going to be starting officially in a couple minutes, but I wanted to give you a sneak peek at what I'm going to be working on. This is going to be a lot of fun. Basically creating something using something in Illustrator, right? This is the old Adobe logo that existed for a brief period of time. I love the retro look, but bringing that into After Effects and animating all those lovely lines. It's done so easy. And I'm excited to share with you how it's done. So feel free to say hello in chat just to make sure you can hear me and all the good stuff. But yeah, we're going to get started in about 1 minute. All right, Afroja, awesome. Thank you so much for that. So I think it's going to be a lot of fun. As I kind of play this through, we could take any part of any one of these letters. So we could take, say, this A and D. If I twirl this down, just to give you an idea, there's only 2 keyframes in here. Actually, let's double check. 3 keyframes. Well, 3 properties that are being used, total of 6 keyframes. So I have a start and end point for the lines, a number of copies that are animating, and then an offset as well, which just gives it this cool look. So yeah, super easy to do, and we'll get started in about 30 seconds. So yeah, fun stuff. I'll be back in 1 second, so we'll see you soon. Hello everyone, how you doing? Paul Trani here. I'm going to dive into today's pro tips all about animating lines in After Effects with me. But starting also in Illustrator, because I want to make this just easy to get into, right? And yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. So thank you for joining me. Jack Watson, General Kenobi. Just taking a preview of all the names out there and people just so I can say hi to everybody, and it's good to be here. All right, so let's get this party started. This is gonna be a lot of fun. Pro tips, all about fun things that just, really cool results in a short amount of time. That's really the goal. So hopefully, Wade, you're into that. And Patrick, hello. I'm starting right here with this logo. This is like the old Adobe logo. And please, can we go back to it? Because this is just awesome. Technically it's filled, with white. But it's just such a cool logo. I'm totally into it. So yeah, that's kind of what I want to what I want to animate. I just vectorized it. It's pretty simple. Command Y, and this is what we're going to animate because I think it'll be fun. So take any design that you have, right? And yeah, just save it out. By the way, this is just the background color. Let's do transparency. I messed with my default color. My default color in Photoshop is this teal because I like teal. All right, let's hide that. That's saved as Adobe Illustrator. Let's jump into After Effects. We create our project. Just so you know, it's just a simple comp, 1920 by 1080. And I might change that as well. But let's go ahead and find our Illustrator file and bring it on in. Thank you, Frank, so much. Audio and video are good. Into Pro Tips. And here's the Adobe logo. It's an Illustrator file. Just save like any other file. Drag it into your project panel, and this is where we can import things. So we can actually import things via footage as merged layers. Don't let merged layers confuse you. We're going to do some things that's going to make it awesome. So you don't have to choose layers. I actually could have chosen a layer because there really is only one in there, by the way. But just to show you, if you do have a more complex project, this is the way I do it. Like merge layers. Okay, done. Here's the Adobe logo. Drop it in like so. And There it is. So let's just add a new solid behind. And actually, I might even want to do something a little bit better. Let's add a new shape layer that is going to be a big rectangle because I want to be able to be bougie and use a nice gradient. So yeah, this is just Paul being Paul. Let's just add a nice gradient just so it's a little more interesting to look at. So there it is. I just created a shape layer. I created a shape layer the same way I'd create a shape in Illustrator. But now we can see our logo. All right. Hello, Nahid, as well from Bangladesh. Alex Silva. What's up, Nicholas? Good to have you here. So again, this was created in Illustrator. Here's my little Illustrator file. Typically, you could animate it. So we could twirl this down and start to move things around, right? We can move around the position, the scale. I could turn on these little stopwatches. This is how After Effects works. I'll usually move those down, and maybe it starts off the screen. Maybe it starts larger, like so, right? Just to give you a primer on After Effects. Take the transparency down, and I went ahead and just made this animation. Let's do this over the course of 1 second. There we go. It's okay. It's kind of boring. Can we all agree? It's kind of boring. Zoop. Boring. It's not bad. I mean, it serves a purpose, but you know, this is just begging to be animated. So think about taking some of your illustrations or any logo and animating it on. First thing you'll notice is like, hey, there are no lines in here. What the heck? This really isn't even a shape layer. It's an Illustrator file. So I need to be able to take this and wait for it. I need to convert this to a shape layer. So let's just do this really fast. A big build up, and I think it's been moved. It has been moved. So let's kind of take a step back because I actually wanted to start with any shape that we make, because even if you don't want to go that route, if you wanted to create things from scratch, you can go to Layer, New Shape Layer. This is like just creating a blank layer, all right? So this is what I'm going to show you again. We're going to progress to the logo. But for this, I need to create something. I can just jump in here and use any of these tools or use the pen tool, right? So for this, I'm going to just create a star, right? That's going to seem simple enough. Click and drag. Here's our star. Why does it look like that? It's because we have a fill and a stroke like so. If we want to give it a stroke, yeah, let's add a quick stroke right in here like so and crank up the thickness of that line because we really want to be able to see this. And let's remove the fill altogether. There we are. Okay, so here's our line drawing that we just created. Okay. Totally into the shape of the layers as well. So what happened here, just like I created a rectangle down here, I created this shape layer, and now here's my star, right? If I take a look inside of here, here's my path, my stroke, and my gradient fill. So every single element and a lot of elements inside there can be animated. So it's so cool that we could take, say, for instance, the stroke, and maybe animate the stroke up. So we're talking about animating lines and things. Let's animate, say, the stroke width. Maybe it starts from nothing. So we'll take this down to 0, and over the course of 1 second, it'll get larger, right? Like so. Okay, cool. Great, good job. But we want it to draw on. So in order to do that, I want to select it has to be a shape layer. You're going to get this little add and this little plus button. And this is the most important thing to keep in mind out of all of this is this little add. So I'm going to zoom in on it so we could all see it. From here, I'm going to select that flyout menu and right down here, trim paths. So out of all the terms you need to keep in mind, just keep in mind trim paths. Selecting that adds trim paths right down here with a start and an end. Finally, these are the sort of properties I'm looking for, a start and an end. Not just animating the thickness of the stroke, but the start and end of the stroke. So now I can add maybe some keyframes, which is what I'll typically do. Let's turn that one off. And I'm going to move these keyframes down. And let's hit U, because that's going to be easier to look at for everyone. Sorry, I got to zoom in a lot. And again, I'm going to put myself on the other side of the screen so I'm not in the way. We could adjust the start point. So now it's moving that clear down to 0%, which means it's not seen. So now we could start to see how this will be animated on, right? Just by scrubbing this percentage right here. So we'll take that down to, looks like we will take it down to 0. The starting point is 0. The end part's at 100. So really it's just this one property that's animating. We'll hit the space bar and we can see it draw on. Just like that. Cool. All right. And we could actually like run this in a loop. Why not? And we could even reverse this. Let's have some more fun with this. I'm going to come down here, 2 seconds in. For the end, I'm going to take this down to 0. So now it's going to animate in and out, right? So let's watch that. Zip, zip. It just goes on forever. So Ernesto, my goal for this is for someone like you, or really any designer, to just kind of get into After Effects and show you what it can do, because it's like really awesome. So that's slowly lulling you all to sleep, kind of, or is it? Let's go ahead and add some easing, because I love easing. Let's do this. Right click on those keyframes, keyframe assistant, easy ease. So now it's going to slow down when it reaches this final sort of star completion. Zoop. I just like the pacing of that a lot better. All right, I'm going to pause for a second just to tell you guys tomorrow I'm going to be on Discord talking about everything that we've learned this week for all these tips. And I'm looking for create shapes from vector layer is what I'm looking for. But join me tomorrow and we can get into more of these details if you have more questions. It's just our chance to talk and cover anything that you might have missed, or I might have not have explained too well. We can do all that fun stuff. All right, so I'm going to jump in here. I'm looking, where's create shapes from layers? Let's create. There we go. Found it. So now we know how this goes. First on, where the heck am I? There we are. We're back. So now we know how to animate lines. This was just a star that I drew. Let's go back to our logo that we imported. Now, this is not a shape layer. So this is the first thing you're going to run into. It's like, okay, this is an Illustrator file, which is usually pretty darn good because that's what we're going to use it for a lot. But if you right click, go to create, and this is what I was looking for a second ago, create shapes from vector layer. Click right there. It now has this Adobe Outlines, and it still gives you the Illustrator file as a backup. But now we can take this, we can twirl this down. Let's take a look at the contents, and yeah, sure enough, we have, it still looks the same, but we have these paths. So now we can actually not only edit these paths if we want to, we can edit these paths, but we get to animate them, which that gets to be the exciting part. I'm gonna ungroup some of these shapes, by the way. Let's see if I can. Because they were grouped in Illustrator, so I'm just ungrouping them in here because I think it's just going to be a little easier to work with. Maybe, maybe not, but I'm just trying to simplify this for everyone. So here's my path. Let's start with, actually, let's start down with stroke 6 because I think that's going to be maybe the biggest one. Let's go in here. Let's go to add. Let's go to trim paths from this flyout menu. Trim paths. Right, here's our trim paths. We have a start and the end. We could scrub this and we can see, especially since I ungrouped it, it's actually referring to all the paths above it, right? So now I can take the start and the end. Look at how I'm scrubbing. It's going to animate it on and off. So let's animate this puppy. Same process. Taking the start to 100, so you can't see it. And then as we scrub in, we could see all these lines animating on. So this is going to be a lot of fun. Let's do it over the course of 1 second since there's a lot going on at this point. And let's hit play. There's our animation. Zip. Pretty cool, yeah? Oh, Ernesto, you are too kind. Because that's my goal. It's like, there's so much to learn. Like, I just want you to be able to show off your work the best you can. Kind of like reselling your work or repurposing some of your line art. Think about just bringing it in, file, import, right click, convert to shape layers, trim paths from this little add button right here, and you have a whole animation going on, which is just fantastic. Let's add some more keyframes. For the second one, we want to, actually, do we want to animate it off? Maybe we don't. I say we just go with this. And let's add our easing, because easing is just going to make things look nice. Right click on keyframes, easy ease, and now it will slow down as it reaches that point. Let's watch it play. Zip. Done. Cool. Let's add some more fun stuff to it, right? Hopefully that works for you. Super easy to work with. Zip. But let's just kind of play around in here, because you're like, oh, that's pretty cool. This one little hidden feature clear down here seems to do a lot. Like, are there more things we can do? Well, there of course are. Otherwise I wouldn't have mentioned it. Repeater, for instance. Let's have this line repeat a couple times. So selecting repeater, let's see what that does. Right down here at the bottom. Repeater. Number of copies, and then the offset. So let's scrub in a little bit. You could already see, and I know it kind of hurts your eyes a little bit. I get it. It's repeating 3 times. But I can have these letters repeat as many times as we want. And then we also have an offset of 0.1. Let's scrub that. But this is the offset of all these repeats. We have 15 repeats on that one line. The great thing is we could start to animate these properties. So I'm just going to have some fun if you don't mind. I might do, say, 4 repeats, 0 offset, and let's just watch this play. Right, we can see it kind of coming in like so. Transform repeater right in here. You're like, wow, I just added this repeater, and now I can do all this other stuff as well. Right? So we can adjust the scale. The anchor point, something really good to adjust as well. And then the opacities. So let's kind of play with that. Let's first look at the position. So now I'm playing with the position. So this is the number of copies. The offset isn't what we want to play with, but I really like the position of these repeaters. So this is what we want to animate, okay? So it's going to start pretty high, say at 50, and then it's going to go down to 0. Like that. So now it's going to like so. Shall we watch it? I'll hit U just to line these up. And fit. Let's just take a look at this. And yeah, let's just watch it play. Now we're getting somewhere. I hope you like this like 80s style. I'm into it. Let's play with some more things. Start and end opacity, size, scale. Yeah, let's just have some fun. Add a keyframe. Let's make it larger. It's going to be in your face. The anchor point. Bring that up. Yeah, oh yeah. Give me that sort of warping look. And let's still adjust the scale. In fact, let's increase the copies. Ooh, might be too much. Let's try like 7. Okay. Let's try this look now. You ready? Just having fun with lines. Can we also decide where we can start the shape from? Yes, you can. Let me show you. That's going to be the trim path start and end point. So let's just kind of jump in here, and I'll just animate this on. Let's turn off the repeater, zoom in, and we can scrub this line. And this is kind of how you just might have it, say 50% end, 50% start. And now it's going to actually start in a different place based on these numbers. So it's the start and end point is all I'm saying. Here, we just moved it. Cool. All right. So that's a pretty cool little animation. That does a lot. I want to do another one. So let's duplicate that. Let's make a second one. Let's go into... maybe our repeaters is a little intense. Maybe you're not a fan of it. I'm going to delete that repeater so we just have this line animating on. I like just even using just this trim paths because you can almost have the line chase one another. We could have this maybe offset these, copy these 2 keyframes, paste them in, adjust these keyframes. Because what I want to do is I never really want the word, I never want the line to completely wrap around the text. Because you're still going to be able to read it. Maybe we'll do this. We're going to do a chase. So it starts at, wait for it, 0, 0. There we go. So it starts to animate on. We want the end point to start chasing after the start point. So I'm both animating the start point and the end point. See what's happening there? It's kind of racing around. Clear to... That's at 0. Let's expand that out. I'm watching it. There we go. There we go. Boom. Okay. Oh, I only have a couple minutes left. But now we have this line that's kind of racing around the text. I love this. You can also and also I just discovered you can actually go into negative, say, 17%, which is interesting. So I like this kind of zipping around. Now that we have this, though, let's do this. Let's take this. We'll pre-compose this. So it's like, you know, make it its own smart object that's an animation, right? So we'll just make this, you know, like a smart object, but not. But it kind of is. But here's the animation that I have going on here. And let's like twirl this down. This only goes for 2 seconds. We might really want to stretch this out. Do we? Do we? Do we not want to? I don't know. We're just going to give us some more time to play with. So this is going to be 5 seconds long. Go back into our comp. Here's our smart object, right? So this one little thing is doing the animation. Let's duplicate it. So for the second one can be a little bit delayed. So I'm going to move that over and might have a different opacity. So we're creating sort of a shadow of a line. And what I do is I'd start tinting this and doing different things, honestly. Let's go into, let's see if we can. See if I could just drop this on. Take that to 100%. Oh, I need to colorize. Hold on, wait for it. I'm just basically going to make this a different color. Or even make it flash would be fun. Nope. Ah, tint. Let's tint it. We're going to map. There we go. Just changed the color. There we go. Something like this. There we go. Cool. I just tinted that copy underneath so it's a different color. So now we can start doing this a couple times, duplicate this again, move it over, change the color. You know me, I like a good hot pink or some other color like so. We've added that. Let's duplicate it again. Ooh. Let's duplicate this again. Duplicate, move it down, change the color, and we're just having a lot of fun at this point. Yeah, let's go with, oh, that's quite a green. We need to dip into the yellows. There we are. So now we can watch this animation. We have these like multicolor lines zipping around the logo. Cool? So just there we go. So this was a lot of fun, just animating lines based on an Illustrator file and just having fun with it, right? So repurposing your animations or your illustrations and, you know, using them in new ways. I think it's kind of fun. So yeah, I'm all about trim paths in After Effects as a designer. Hopefully you are too. Thank you, Khalid, Doris, Christopher. I see Nicholas out there. Shelby, thanks so much for joining me. And yeah, we'll see you tomorrow at this exact same time. And keep in mind, I'll be on Discord tomorrow as well. So there it is, a little Discord action. So thanks for joining me, everybody. Appreciate you guys. Stay in touch. Show me what you end up posting. Would love to see it on social media. Follow me on social media. All the good things. Appreciate you guys. And we'll see you all very soon. Thanks so much, everybody. Bye.